Jake Morrison floated near the wide window of Unity 7, watching Earth spin slowly below. The blue and green planet looked peaceful in the morning light. Ships moved quietly between the orbital stations, carrying goods and people like they had for 30 years. Everything seemed normal. Jake had been the station commander for 5 years now. He liked the quiet work of directing traffic and checking cargo manifests. The most exciting thing that usually happened was when a ship came in with the wrong papers. Today felt like another boring Tuesday. The coffee maker beeped behind him. Jake pushed off from the window and drifted toward his desk. His computer showed 17 ships scheduled to arrive before noon. All of them were from the Centauri Trade Federation, humanity's peaceful alien friends who had brought so much good technology to Earth. The alarm changed everything. Red lights flashed across the control room. Jake's second-in-command, Lisa Park, looked up from her station with wide eyes. "Commander, we have unknown contacts dropping out of hyperspace. Lots of them." Jake pulled himself to the main display. What he saw made his stomach drop. Massive ships, black as space itself, appeared one by one around Earth. These were not the smooth, white vessels of the Centauri. These ships looked like weapons, all sharp edges and gun ports. "How many?" Jake asked. 50 so far. No, wait, 70. They keep coming." The ships were huge, each one bigger than Earth's largest space station. Jake had never seen anything like them. They moved with purpose, spreading out to surround the planet. "Try to contact them," Jake ordered. "Ask who they are and what they want." Lisa worked at her controls. After a moment, she shook her head. "They're not answering. But Commander, I'm picking up energy readings from their weapons. They're charging up." Down in Earth's gravity well, Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the Endeavour, flagship of the Earth Defense Fleet. She watched the alien ships take positions around her world. 30 years of peace had made humanity soft. The defense fleet was small, designed more for keeping space lanes clear than fighting wars. "Admiral," her communications officer called. "Unity 7 is reporting unknown alien vessels in attack formation." Kate studied the tactical display. The alien ships had Earth completely surrounded. Whatever they wanted, they had not come to talk. "Signal all ships," she said. "Battle stations, raise shields and charge weapons." The Earth Defense Fleet had 43 ships. The aliens had over 100. Kate did not like those numbers, but she had sworn to protect Earth. She would do her duty. The alien attack began without warning. Beams of purple light shot out from the black ships. Jake watched in horror as the beams cut through human shields like they were made of paper. The orbital station New Hope exploded in a ball of fire. Seconds later, mining platform 7 broke apart, its metal hull glowing red-hot. "Return fire," Admiral Sullivan ordered. "All weapons, open fire." Human missiles and energy beams reached out toward the alien ships. Most of the weapons bounced off strange shimmering barriers around the alien hulls. A few missiles got through, but they barely scratched the black metal. The aliens fired again. This time they targeted the defense fleet directly. The destroyer Atlantic took a direct hit and vanished in a flash of light. The cruiser Washington lost its front section and spun out of control, air and debris streaming from the wound. In minutes, half of humanity's space fleet was gone. Jake felt Unity 7 shake as alien weapons hit the station's shields. "Evacuate all non-essential personnel," he ordered. "Get them to the escape pods." "The pods won't make it to Earth," Lisa said. "The aliens will shoot them down. Then we hope they don't care about escape pods. Move." On Earth's surface, people looked up at the sky in terror. Bright flashes marked the death of human ships and stations. Burning debris began to fall like metal rain. In cities around the world, air raid sirens wailed for the first time in decades. Dr. Alex Carter stood on the roof of the Geneva Physics Institute, watching the battle through binoculars. As a quantum physicist, he understood energy better than most people. What he saw in the alien weapons scared him more than the destruction they caused. "Those beams shouldn't be possible," he said to his assistant. "They're using some kind of dark matter manipulation. Our physics says that can't work." "Well, it's working pretty well for them," his assistant replied, pointing at another explosion in orbit. The alien weapons were beyond anything humans had imagined. But Alex was already thinking about how they might work. If humanity survived the next few hours, that knowledge might be important. Major Lisa Brooks commanded the evacuation of Geneva as purple clouds began to spread across the sky. The clouds came from alien machines that had landed outside the city. Whatever was in those clouds made people sick and turned the air hard to breathe. "Move everyone to the underground shelters," she ordered her soldiers. "Sealed breathing gear for everyone. These aliens are changing our air." The purple clouds spread faster than people could run. Lisa watched families stumble and fall as the wee-bow alien atmosphere took hold. Some of her soldiers collapsed at their posts. She grabbed one fallen man and dragged him toward a shelter entrance. "We can't breathe this stuff," the soldier gasped. "They're killing our whole planet." Lisa looked back at the purple sky. The aliens were not just conquering Earth. They were changing it into something that could not support human life. By the end of the day, Earth's orbital defenses were gone. The planet's surface lay under alien occupation. Strange machines worked day and night to transform the atmosphere. Human cities stood empty as purple clouds rolled across continents. In his command bunker beneath the Rockies, General Robert Hayes received reports from around the world. The story was the same everywhere. Humanity's military was broken. The aliens controlled the sky and were taking the ground. A communication came in from the alien fleet. The image showed a tall creature with 6 arms and eyes like black holes. When it spoke, translation software turned its words into cold English. "I am Commander Vexathon of the Zephyrian hegemony. Your species will submit to slavery or face complete extinction. You have 1 day to surrender your governments. Resist and we will burn every human city to ash." The transmission ended. Hayes looked around the bunker at his staff officers. They all knew Earth's military could not win a direct fight with these aliens. But in their faces, he saw something the aliens had not expected to find. He saw that humans would rather die fighting than live as slaves. 3 months had passed since the aliens took Earth. The purple clouds now covered most of the planet. Humans could only breathe safely underground or in sealed buildings with air filters. The surface belonged to the Zephyrians and their massive mining machines. Captain Danny Hayes crouched in a tunnel deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. His flashlight beam showed rough stone walls and rusty pipes. The old military bunker had become home to 200 survivors. They called it Haven Base, though it felt more like a tomb. "Any word from the London group?" he asked Lisa Park, who worked at a makeshift radio station. "Dr. Helen Price sent a coded message this morning. She says they found something important in the alien tech they captured last week." Danny nodded. Helen Price had been the best scientist at the Geneva Institute before the invasion. Now she lived in abandoned subway tunnels beneath London, trying to understand how the alien weapons worked. The radio crackled. "Haven Base, this is Stone's Wolves. We're coming in hot. The aliens found our supply run." Danny grabbed the radio. "Rick, how many are chasing you?" 3 hover tanks and a squad of foot soldiers. We're about 10 minutes out. Colonel Rick Stone had been leading raids against alien supply convoys for 2 months. His team had learned to hit fast and run before the aliens could bring their heavy weapons to bear. But the Zephyrians were getting better at tracking human movements. "Seal the main entrance," Danny ordered. "Use Tunnel 7 for evac if they find us." The base erupted into controlled chaos. Soldiers grabbed weapons and took positions. Families with children moved deeper into the mountain. Everyone knew the routine. Rick's team came running through the tunnel entrance, their boots splashing in the shallow water. Behind them, alien voices echoed off the stone walls. The Zephyrians had found the tunnel. "Blow the charges," Danny said. Explosions shook the mountain. Tons of rock fell, sealing the main entrance. The base was safe, but now they had one less way out. "We can't keep this up," Rick said, pulling off his helmet. "Every time we hit them, they get closer to finding our bases. Then we need to hit them harder," Danny replied. "What did Helen find?" Rick smiled. "That's the good news. She thinks she found a weakness in their shields." Across the ocean, Dr. Helen Price worked by candlelight in what used to be the Piccadilly underground station. The platform had been turned into a laboratory filled with alien technology her team had salvaged from destroyed Zephyrian vehicles. "Look at this," she said to her assistant, pointing at a device that hummed with purple energy. "Their shields work on harmonic frequencies. If we can match the right frequency, we might be able to cancel out their defenses." "Like noise-canceling headphones?" the young man asked. "Exactly. But instead of sound waves, we're dealing with quantum field fluctuations." Helen had been working 18 hours a day trying to understand Zephyrian technology. The aliens used science that was centuries ahead of human knowledge, but the basic principles were still the same. Energy was energy. Physics was physics. Her team had built a device that could disrupt the alien shields for a few seconds. It was not much, but it was enough to let human weapons get through. "Test it again," she said. They aimed their device at a piece of alien armor. The purple glow around the metal flickered and died. A simple human bullet punched right through what had been impenetrable protection. "It works," her assistant said. "We can hurt them." Meanwhile, in the Australian desert, engineer Beth Taylor worked with a group of Aboriginal survivors to build weapons in hidden caves. The Zephyrians had ignored the remote areas, thinking them worthless. They were wrong. "The old ways work better than the new ways," said Bill Nguyen, an elder who had taught Beth how to find water and food in the harsh land. "Your people forgot how to live without machines. We never forgot." Beth mixed alien metal with earth materials, creating ammunition that could penetrate Zephyrian armor. The process was slow, but it worked. More importantly, it could be done with simple tools that did not show up on alien scanners. "We're like ants," she said, watching her team work. "Too small for the aliens to notice, but we can still bite." The resistance was growing. Small groups in every major city worked to sabotage alien operations. They cut power lines, poisoned air processors, and stole supplies. Each act was tiny, but together they were starting to hurt the occupation. The Zephyrians responded with brutal searches. Their soldiers, tall and thin with 4 arms each, swept through human settlements looking for rebels. Anyone caught with weapons was killed on the spot. Anyone suspected of helping the resistance disappeared. But for every human they killed, 2 more joined the fight. In the ruins of New York, Major Lisa Brooks led her team through the sewers toward an alien command post. The purple clouds above made the city look like an alien world, but the tunnels below were still human territory. "Remember," she whispered to her soldiers, "hit the power core first. Helen's device only works for 30 seconds. They climbed up through a maintenance shaft and into the basement of what used to be a shopping mall. The alien command post sat in the main court, surrounded by energy barriers and guarded by 6 Zephyrian soldiers. Lisa activated Helen's shield disruptor. The alien barriers flickered and went dark. Her team opened fire with everything they had. The Zephyrians were fast, but they had grown used to being protected by their shields. 3 of them fell before they could return fire. The others scrambled for cover behind broken concrete. 30 seconds, Lisa shouted. Her team poured fire into the alien equipment. Computers exploded. Communication gear melted. The command post was destroyed. The shields came back online just as Zephyrian reinforcements arrived. Lisa's team was already gone, vanishing into the tunnel system like ghosts. Back at Haven Base, Danny received reports from resistance cells around the world. The attacks were working. The aliens were having trouble coordinating their forces. Supply convoys moved slower because they needed more guards. Mining operations stopped frequently to search for saboteurs. "We're making them scared," Rick said. "They came here thinking humans were easy prey. Now they're learning different." The radio crackled with an encrypted message from space. Danny could hardly believe what he heard. "This is Mars Colony calling Earth resistance. We're still here and we're not giving up. Hold on down there. Help is coming." For the first time in months, Danny smiled. Earth was not alone. Humanity had not been completely defeated. The aliens had won the first battle, but the war was far from over. In hidden bases and secret tunnels, humans sharpened their weapons and planned their next attacks. They had learned to live like wolves, striking from the shadows and disappearing before the enemy could respond. The Zephyrians controlled the surface and the sky, but they were beginning to understand that conquering a planet was different from conquering its people. Humans would not go quietly into slavery. The resistance was growing stronger every day. The message from Mars came through the hidden quantum radio at exactly midnight. Danny Hayes listened as Director Paul Newman's voice crackled through the static. Earth resistance, this is Mars Colony. We've been building weapons up here for 20 years. The government told us they were for asteroid mining, but we knew better. We knew someone might try to take our worlds. Danny felt his heart race. What kind of weapons? The kind that can crack alien battlecruisers in half, but we need to get them to you first. On Mars, Paul Newman stood in the secret weapons facility buried deep beneath the mining colony. Red dust covered everything, but the weapons were clean and ready. Plasma cannons that could melt through any armor. Stealth fighters that bent light around their hulls. And something even better. "Show him the gravity bombs," said engineer Mary Foster, who had spent 15 years perfecting the design. Paul activated a hologram. The device looked simple, just a metal sphere the size of a basketball, but Mary's calculations showed it could create a tiny black hole that would last for exactly 3 seconds. 3 seconds was enough to crush any ship. "We've been testing them on asteroids," Mary explained. "One bomb can destroy a rock the size of a city. The aliens won't expect it because the physics shouldn't work, but it does work." The problem was getting the weapons to Earth. The Zephyrians controlled all the space around the planet. Any ship trying to land would be destroyed before it got close. "We need a distraction," Paul said. "Something big enough to pull their attention away from one small transport." On Europa, the ice moon of Jupiter, Chief Engineer Mary Foster had her own surprise ready. The mining platforms that harvested water from the moon's frozen ocean had been modified. Instead of drilling for ice, they were now weapons that could fire chunks of frozen water at incredible speeds. "Ice bullets," she told her team. "Simple, cheap, and invisible to most scanners. Plus, we have millions of tons of ammunition right under our feet." The plan was brilliant. Ice was just water, harmless by itself. But when you fired it fast enough, it hit like a missile. The Zephyrians would never see it coming. Back on Earth, Danny received more messages from human colonies throughout the solar system. Titan Station had built stealth ships. The asteroid belt miners had weapons that could punch holes in planets. Even the small research station on Pluto had something to contribute. "We're not just refugees hiding in holes," Danny told his staff. "We're the center of a solar system full of angry humans with big guns." But the most important message came from a place Danny had never heard of. Deep beneath Mount McKinley in Alaska, a facility called Project Icarus had been running in secret for 30 years. Dr. Grace Adams had been working alone in the mountain, perfecting weapons that the government thought were too dangerous to use. Now she was humanity's best hope. "The gravity bombs are just the beginning," she told Danny over the encrypted radio. "I've been working on something that can destroy entire fleets, but I need help to finish it." Danny knew he had to get to Alaska. The journey would take his team across a continent full of alien patrols and poisonous air. But if Dr. Adams had a weapon that could save Earth, the risk was worth it. Rick Stone volunteered to lead the mission. His wolves were the best fighters. In the Resistance, experts at moving unseen through alien territory. They would take a small team north while the other bases created diversions. The journey began badly. Zephyrian scout ships spotted them on the second day. Rick's team had to abandon their vehicles and continue on foot through the frozen wilderness. 2 men were lost to alien hunter patrols. Another fell through thin ice and drowned, but they kept moving north. Meanwhile, the aliens were having problems of their own. Commander Vexthon stood in his command ship watching reports flow in from around the planet. Human attacks were increasing. Supply convoys were being destroyed. Mining operations were being sabotaged. "The humans are like insects," he told his officers. "We destroy one nest and 3 more appear. How are they coordinating these attacks?" His intelligence officer brought bad news. "We've detected quantum communication signals, but we can't break their encryption. The humans are using some kind of consciousness-based encoding that our computers cannot understand." Vexathon's 4 arms moved in anger. The Zephyrian military was used to conquering planets quickly. Resistance movements usually collapsed when their leaders were killed, but humans seemed to have no central leadership. Every cell operated independently, making them impossible to destroy completely. "Bring in the Void Hunters," he ordered. "If regular soldiers cannot stop these insects, we need specialists." The Void Hunters were the Zephyrian military's elite counterinsurgency force. Half machine and half alien, they were designed specifically to hunt down rebels. They could track humans by their scent, move faster than any vehicle, and kill with weapons that made regular Zephyrian guns look like toys. Dr. Alex Carter was working in his underground laboratory when the first Void Hunter found his base. The giant creature burst through the concrete wall like it was paper, its red eyes scanning the room with mechanical precision. Alex grabbed his latest invention, a device based on Helen Price's shield research. Instead of disrupting alien shields, it created feedback in their neural implants. He pointed it at the Void Hunter and fired. The creature screamed and fell to the ground, its cybernetic parts sparking and smoking. Alex had discovered something important. The aliens' greatest strength, their machine enhancements, could also be their weakness. He immediately sent the discovery to every resistance cell on the planet. Humans began building neural disruptors using spare parts from old computers and alien salvage. The Void Hunters were still dangerous, but they were no longer unstoppable. Rick's team finally reached Mount McKinley after 2 weeks of hard travel. The hidden entrance to Project Icarus was buried under 30 feet of snow and ice. They dug for hours before finding the tunnel that led deep into the mountain. Dr. Grace Adams met them at the entrance. She was older than Danny had expected, with gray hair and tired eyes. But when she spoke about her work, her voice was strong. "Welcome to the most dangerous place on Earth," she said. "I've been building weapons here that can tear holes in space itself. The government called the project too risky and tried to shut it down 5 years ago. I've been working alone ever since." She led them through tunnels carved from solid rock to a vast chamber filled with strange machines. In the center sat a device that looked like a metal tree, its branches reaching toward the ceiling. "This is the Stellar Lance," Grace explained. "It creates artificial gravity wells that can crush anything within 1,000 miles. One shot from this weapon can destroy an entire alien fleet." Rick stared at the machine. "What's the catch?" Grace smiled grimly. "The catch is that it might destroy everything else in the same 1,000 miles, including us." But as reports came in of more Void Hunters landing on Earth, of more human cities being burned, of more people dying under alien occupation, the risk seemed worth it. The Resistance had found its ultimate weapon. Now they just had to figure out how to use it without destroying themselves. The first gravity bomb struck the Zephyrian harvesting fleet without warning. Admiral Kate Sullivan watched from her hidden command bunker as the alien ship simply vanished into a point of crushing darkness. For 3 seconds, space twisted around the bomb. When it ended, nothing was left but metal dust. "Did we just do that?" asked her communications officer. Kate smiled for the first time in months. "Yes, we did. Send word to all resistance cells. The gravity bombs work." The successful attack sent shockwaves through the Zephyrian command. Commander Vexthon stared at the empty space where 12 of his ships had been moments before. His sensors showed no trace of the vessels or their crews. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "The humans don't have this technology." His science officer, a tall alien with 6 arms, studied the readings. "The weapon created a localized gravity well with impossible density. Our physics say this cannot be done with any known power source." "Then our physics are wrong," Vexthon said coldly. "Request immediate reinforcements from the home fleet. These humans are more dangerous than we calculated." But the message to the Zephyrian homeworld would take weeks to arrive. The local fleet had to deal with humanity's new weapons alone. On Mars, Paul Newman watched his teams load gravity bombs onto fast transport ships. The stealth vessels would slip past alien patrols and deliver the weapons to resistance cells on Earth. Each bomb was small enough to carry in a backpack, but powerful enough to destroy a city-sized target. "How many do we have ready?" he asked. "Mary Foster." 50 bombs with more coming off the production line every day," she replied. But we need to be careful. If the aliens figure out how to detect them, we lose our advantage. The first shipment launched at midnight, Mars time. 6 stealth ships, each carrying 10 bombs, began the dangerous journey to Earth. They would arrive at different times and land at secret locations to avoid detection. Admiral Sullivan was no longer hiding in bunkers. The successful gravity bomb attack had given her the courage to come out of hiding and take command of humanity's scattered forces. She established her new headquarters in an abandoned subway station beneath New York, protected by neural disruptors that kept the Void Hunters away. "We're not just surviving anymore," she told the assembled resistance leaders over encrypted radio. "We're winning. The aliens are scared, and scared enemies make mistakes." The first mistake came 3 days later. A Zephyrian patrol ship, investigating the area where their fleet had vanished, flew too close to a hidden human base. Rick Stone's team hit it with a gravity bomb, and the ship disappeared into crushing darkness. The aliens began pulling their ships back from Earth orbit, afraid of the invisible weapons that could appear anywhere. This gave the resistance room to move and breathe for the first time since the invasion. Dr. Helen Price used the opportunity to distribute her shield disruptors to every resistance cell on the planet. The devices were crude but effective. Human weapons could now punch through alien defenses, evening the odds in ground combat. The Centauri Trade Federation, humanity's peaceful alien allies, watched the conflict with growing interest. They had remained neutral when the Zephyrians first attacked, not wanting to start a galactic war. But now, seeing humanity fight back so effectively, they began to reconsider. Ambassador Kethvar sent a secret message to Admiral Sullivan. "The Centauri Council is impressed by human resilience. We cannot openly support your war, but we can provide information about Zephyrian fleet movements and supply routes." The intelligence was invaluable. Human raiders began hitting alien supply convoys with perfect timing, destroying fuel shipments and weapon deliveries before they could reach the occupation forces on Earth. Major Lisa Brooks led one of these raids, in the ruins of Chicago. Her team used neural disruptors to disable the Void Hunters guarding the convoy, then planted gravity bombs on the transport ships. The entire supply train disappeared in seconds. "The aliens are learning to fear us," she told her soldiers. 6 months ago they thought we were helpless. Now they jump at shadows and see humans behind every attack. But the Zephyrians were adapting too. Commander Vexthon deployed new tactics, spreading his forces out so that no single attack could destroy large numbers of ships. He also began using human prisoners as shields, hoping to make the resistance hesitate before using their terrible weapons. Dr. Grace Adams had an answer for that problem. Working with Alex Carter's consciousness research, she developed guidance systems for the gravity bombs that could distinguish between human and alien brain patterns. The weapons would only activate when no human minds were detected nearby. "We can be precise," she explained to Danny Hayes during one of their planning sessions. "The bombs can target individual alien ships while leaving human prisoners unharmed." The new guided bombs were first used in the Battle of Luna. Zephyrian forces had established a major base on Earth's moon, using it to coordinate attacks on the planet below. Admiral Sullivan led a combined assault using ships from the asteroid colonies and weapons from Mars. The battle began with ice bullets from Europa, invisible projectiles that punched through alien hulls before the defenders knew they were under attack. Then came the gravity bombs, each one targeted at specific enemy ships while avoiding the captured human mining crews. Captain Stone led a team of volunteers and captured alien fighters, using the ship's own technology against their former owners. The neural disruptors made it impossible for the Zephyrians to coordinate their defense. In 3 hours, the human forces had destroyed the alien base and freed 2,000 prisoners. More importantly, they had proven that humanity could win major battles, not just conduct hit-and-run raids. The victory had consequences across the solar system. Other alien species, watching from a distance, began to see humans as potential allies rather than victims. The Rigel Mining Consortium offered to sell weapons to the resistance. The Vegan Trade Union agreed to carry human messages between star systems. Commander Vexthon found himself fighting not just humans, but a growing coalition of alien species, that saw the Zephyrian Empire as a threat to galactic peace. His requests for reinforcements were denied as the home fleet dealt with rebellions on other conquered worlds. "The humans have turned our strength against us," he told his officers. "Every world we conquer becomes another enemy. Every species we threaten joins their cause." On Earth, the resistance was transforming into something more like a regular army. Hidden factories produced weapons and equipment. Training camps turned civilians into soldiers. Communication networks linked cells across continents. Beth Taylor's workshop in the Australian desert had grown into a major manufacturing center, producing neural disruptors and gravity bomb components for the global resistance. Aboriginal guides helped smuggle the weapons across the continent, using ancient paths that alien satellites couldn't detect. "We're not just fighting for survival anymore," she told her workers. "We're fighting to take our world back." The tide was turning. Human forces controlled large sections of Earth's surface for the first time since the invasion. The purple clouds were being pushed back by human air processors. Cities were being rebuilt with better defenses, but the biggest change was in human hearts. The fear was gone, replaced by anger and determination. The aliens had awakened something in humanity that they didn't understand and couldn't defeat. The hunted had become the hunters. 6 months after the Battle of Luna, Earth's sky was blue again. The purple clouds had been pushed back to small pockets around the remaining alien bases. Human air processors worked day and night to clean the atmosphere, while construction crews rebuilt the destroyed cities. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the new flagship Terra's Might, watching Zephyrian ships retreat from Earth orbit. The alien fleet that had once seemed unstoppable now ran from human forces. Gravity bombs had made their massive ships into targets instead of weapons. "Admiral," her communications officer reported, "the last alien mining station in Africa has surrendered. The continent is completely free." Kate nodded. "Signal all forces. Prepare for Operation Homecoming. We're taking our planet back." In the depths of space, Commander Vexthon received the worst news of his military career. The Zephyrian High Command was recalling what remained of his fleet. The invasion of Earth was officially a failure. "The humans have developed weapons that make our ships useless," the High Commander's message said. "Withdraw all forces and establish a defensive line at the edge of their solar system. Do not engage human ships unless they attack first." Vexthon's forearms shook with rage. His mighty fleet had been reduced to running away from a species that had been using primitive rockets just decades ago. But he had one last card to play. Deep in his flagship's weapons bay sat the Planet Cracker, a weapon designed to destroy entire worlds. If he could not conquer Earth, he would make sure no one else could have it either. Dr. Grace Adams detected the Planet Cracker's energy buildup from her facility beneath Mount McKinley. The weapon was charging slowly, building up power to strike. At Earth's core, when it fired, it would split the planet in half. "How long do we have?" Danny Hayes asked over the radio. 6 hours, Grace replied. "Maybe less. The weapon is bigger than anything they've used before. Can the gravity bombs stop it?" "Not alone, but I have an idea. Dr. Carter's consciousness research might be the key." Alex Carter had spent months studying how human thoughts could affect alien technology. He had discovered that human neural patterns created unique quantum signatures that could disrupt Zephyrian systems. Now he had to scale up his research to save the entire planet. "We need every person on Earth to focus their thoughts at the same time," he explained to the resistance leaders. "Human consciousness, when combined, creates a quantum field that can redirect energy. If we can get everyone to concentrate on the Planet Cracker, we might be able to turn its own power against the alien fleet." It sounded impossible, but humanity had learned to do impossible things. Radio broadcasts went out across the planet, telling everyone what they needed to do. In hidden bunkers and freed cities, in underground bases and orbital stations, humans prepared to join their minds in a desperate gambit. Rick Stone led the final assault on the remaining Zephyrian ground forces. His wolves, now grown into a full regiment, hit the alien bases with everything they had. Gravity bombs cleared the way while neural disruptors disabled the defenders. "Keep them busy," he told his troops. Don't let them help their ship in orbit. The planet cracker began its final charging sequence. Energy readings spiked across every human sensor. In 1 hour, the weapon would fire and Earth would die. Admiral Sullivan ordered all human ships to attack the Zephyrian flagship. Knowing it was probably suicide. The Terra's might led the charge, followed by vessels from Mars, Europa, and the asteroid belt. They had no weapons that could penetrate the flagship's shields, but they would try anyway. As the human fleet engaged the aliens in a desperate battle, Alex Carter gave the signal. Across Earth and throughout the solar system, every human mind focused on the same thought. They imagined the planet cracker's energy flowing backward, turning against the ship that fired it. The effect was immediate and stunning. The massive weapon began to glow brighter, but instead of aiming at Earth, its energy started flowing into the ship's own systems. Vexthon watched in horror as his flagship began to tear itself apart from the inside. "Impossible," he whispered. "How can thoughts affect machinery?" The answer came from Dr. Carter, who was monitoring the quantum field generated by millions of human minds working together. Because consciousness isn't separate from the universe, it's part of it. And when enough minds work together, they can change reality itself. The planet cracker exploded, taking Vexathon's flagship with it. The remaining Zephyrian ships fled toward the edge of the solar system, their commanders too shocked to fight back, but humanity wasn't done. The victory over the planet cracker had shown them something incredible. When human minds worked together, they could do more than just defend. They could create. Dr. Adams and her team used the same consciousness-focusing techniques to build new technology. Within weeks, they had developed faster-than-light travel based on quantum consciousness manipulation. Human ships could now cross the galaxy in days instead of years. Paul Newman led the first human expedition to Zephyrian space. They found a dozen worlds under alien occupation, their native species enslaved just as the Zephyrians had tried to enslave humanity. The human fleet brought gravity bombs and neural disruptors, but more importantly, they brought hope. "We know what it's like to be conquered," Newman told the leader of the first liberated world. "We know what it's like to fight back, and we know how to win." The Zephyrian Empire, which had ruled through fear for 1,000 years, began to crumble. World after world threw off their chains, helped by human weapons and human teachers who showed them how to resist. Commander Vexthon, now a prisoner on his own homeworld, watched his empire fall apart. The High Command had stripped him of rank and blamed him for the disaster, but in his cell he finally understood what had happened. "The humans were never the prey," he said to his guard. "They were the predators. We just didn't know it yet." 5 years later, Earth was the center of a new galactic alliance. The United Species Coalition included hundreds of worlds, all protected by human military technology and organized according to human ideas about freedom and cooperation. Dr. Alex Carter, now director of the Galactic Research Institute, received a distress signal from a galaxy far away. A young species called the Kalani was facing extinction at the hands of a militant empire similar to the Zephyrians. He smiled and activated the emergency response protocol. Within hours, human ships would be on their way to help another species learn how to fight back against oppression. The message went out across space in dozens of languages. "This is the Human Defense Fleet. We received your distress call. Help is coming. Hold on." In council chambers across the galaxy, alien leaders spoke with respect about the small blue world that had changed everything. They called humans the Guardians, the species that stood between the weak and those who would prey upon them. Earth had been attacked by an alien armada that thought humanity was easy prey. Instead, they had awakened something that would protect the innocent across the galaxy. The hunters had become the guardians of the hunt.